Hi, welcome to Garden Cafe. I'm Maureen and this is my Texas Zone 8B 9A garden. Today I'm going to be working on extending the irrigation system to both sides of the house. If you look at my previous video, updating the planters from spring to summer, I got a whole bunch of new planters. So they all need irrigation or it's going to be hours a day of watering, which is not something that's going to happen. So irrigation, let's get going. Oh, and if you like my videos, please click subscribe, like, or share. It helps me to build my channel. You can see my setup, and I understand how incredibly lucky I am to have two faucets out in the yard against the fence. So irrigation has been so much easier. Here's the issue. This is the only faucet that I have been going off of for our current irrigation system, and it waters, and I'll show you. So this faucet goes all along the fence, behind these bushes, over to behind the pond, and all the way down to that far corner. It's a bit of a stretch, but I'm going to show you the second faucet I have in that corner over there that I'm going to use to take some of the stress off of this one over here. So this one, back to this one, I'm going to put a splitter on it so that I can run irrigation over to the pots in the corner over there. And then, the only outputs will be those two pots. And then it will go all the way along this fence, no outputs, to water the two terracotta pots against the fence back there. And then we'll go work on the other faucet, but we're going to start right here. Actually, you know what? I changed my mind. I am going to start on the faucet all the way in that far corner because there are areas that need water more immediately than the few pots that are along the fence behind me. So the second faucet is right here under the bus stop by the roses. It only goes to one, it's a sprinkler, one of the kinds that turn around and around, old-fashioned. And that's the only thing this one uses, the only thing this goes to. So what I'm going to do is put a splitter, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that so I can feed a line down along the fence this way. Now I'm going to have this line go along the fence here all the way down. Now everything in here gets plenty of water from our sprinkler system, but all the way back there through our newest shade garden, and I'll show you, I'll walk around this way on the path. I'm around here and over here to these two pots, which are new. We got them from our neighbors when they moved, and I absolutely love them. I just upgraded them with the summer plants, previous video for that one. And in addition to that, through under the corner of this fence, front yard in that corner, and I'll show you when I get there, is an area I am planting some other plants and has no irrigation. So this is the one I'm going to work on. The entire span of that fence, though, is just going to be a closed tube. So all I want to irrigate with this one are these two pots and what's behind that corner. One of the first things I'm going to do is to cut back, this drift rose just a tiny bit because I do not want to have to battle with the thorns while I'm doing this. And this is a clerodendron. You get a clerodendron, people, you better love it. And I do. You better love it because it will pop up everywhere. So although I do love it, I only like it in certain areas. So next part, this is a hose splitter. Pretty self-explanatory. It takes one output of water and gives you two outputs. So, which is what I want. I do want this sprinkler back here to continue, but this line is the one I'm going to use to run the irrigation down the fence. Pretty, as I said, self-explanatory. You just unscrew it from the faucet. Screw the hose splitter on. Oop, and I am still getting caught by these rose thorns. Let me see if I can get around it. Here we go. All right. That's on. Oh, nice and snug. Oh, okay. I'll have my husband come back and tighten these up for me. Let me turn it this way to begin with. So I'm going to reattach the hose I just took off. And then I can tip it the other way to put the adapter on. I have 1/4-inch irrigation tubing. Oh, come on, guy. Yeah, I'm going to need my husband to come and tighten this. My hands only go so far. All right. And these, you can turn them on or off, depending on where you do and don't want the water flow. But I leave them both on. So when I run the irrigation system, both sides will run automatically. This is 100 feet of the irrigation tubing. Really not very expensive. Just picked it up from Home Depot. Now, I have not used this. Is supposed to adapt it from the size of the standard hose to my 1/4-inch irrigation tubing. So let me just see, because this I'm supposed to just be able, no, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and try it. So this, you're supposed to just be able to push in, and then it's supposed to be snug. Oh, it is. Oh, good. Okay. So yeah, there must be something in there like a barb that once you put it in, it doesn't come out. Oh, good. And it must create a good seal. All right. So this is going to go into the other side, and this is the hose that I'm going to run along the fence to those other pots and on the other side of the fence. Oh, good. I'm glad I know this works. Talked to someone at Home Depot and said, because the one I bought was part of a kit, and it had a pretty special adapter to it, which apparently was not incredibly common. Okay, so that seems good. This one will still go to the other sprinkler system. This one, we're going to start running along the fence. This clerodendron had way too much sun last year and was incredibly unhappy. It wasn't this one. This is one of these babies that grew up in a more shady zone, so I left it. But I did transplant a few of the babies from the original one, which was over here, into the shade garden. If you get these folks, clerodendron, man, find an incredibly shady spot. They do not enjoy sun. I am just going to cut this line on this side. Again, I don't need a lot to go through. Okay. Just a couple of feet. And it's going to go through the pickets in the fence. Here we go. Now it's time to set up the irrigation to the bench garden pots. Lots of little friends out here to join me. I haven't seen one of the dragons yet. We have a bunch of dragons in this area, and I'll put a picture in the corner. They're Texas spiny lizards, but I call them dragons and give them Game of Thrones dragon names. So this is all very self-explanatory. This is the water line, which I'm going to cut. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this T in the water line on one end and in the water line on other, and this one will go out to the pot. A lot of people use all right, guys, this is a little difficult for my hands, so I use a lighter to soften up the tube, and it helps this go in just a little bit easier. Anyway, a lot of people use these hoses that have holes in them, emitter holes, every 6, 10, 12 inches, whatever. Get the other side. So that it waters every few inches. But as I stated, I'm pretty happy with our irrigation system for everything on the ground. It really is just the pots. And in Central Texas, it gets so flippin' hot that these pots need a ton of water. And like right now, I am sweating like crazy. I think the real field temperature at the moment has to be over 100 right now. And we're still in June. Where's the end to this? All right. So this is the leftover hose that I cut off. That was going out on the other side of the fence. And I'm just going to use these to divert the water to the first pot. And then I'll do this again a little bit farther down to go to the pot on the other side of the bench. These little guys are called the drippers. You can open them up to get so more water comes out of them if you turn it to the left, and you can close them off completely if you turn it to the right, or you can go anywhere in between. These are bigger pots, so I'm going to open them because not a whole lot of water comes out of here. It is drip irrigation, but it should be more than enough. And you can see some of these plants, and I'm going to, again, have to heat this up a little. You can see these plants in this pot are already starting to suffer. And this is the pot that is in almost full shade. The other one is looking even sadder. All right, so once you have that done, I have these little toothpicky things that they basically just snap onto the irrigation tube, and you can place them wherever you want. They are a good plan because when you turn the water on and off, that hose can move. Just the water pressure alone will move it. So that's one pot. Let's do the other. I want it to be, the line to be hidden behind the azalea bush. So I'm just going to pull this over and I'm going to attach the line here, and then I'll run it around the other side of the azalea. I just wanted you to be able to see me put it together again the second time. And again, we've got the T. We've got the T, and it's going to go into each side of the tubing, and that one will be what goes out to the other pot. And okay. And as you can see, this poor pot is not having a nice day. Way too much sun, way too much heat. I mean, I just watered it yesterday, but this needs water, so perfect timing. Let me heat that up. Put the dripper on. There we go. I'm going to open it all the way up. And put the clip on. This doesn't want to go on. There we go. And right in the middle. Okay, I'm going to be turning the irrigation arm on just in a little bit to test it. And I'm going to run it tonight. But I honestly think I'm going to come over here with a hose and just soak these, because these were recently planted, actually in a previous video recently of where I upgraded all my pots. Actually, I don't think I've even posted that one yet. But so they're newly planted relatively within the last week and a half, 2 weeks. Serious need of water. So I will get to that. But let's head on out front to the other side of the gate to finish off this part of the irrigation line, and then we can test it. This is the little corner of fence outside in my front yard, just on the other side of that line that we just put in. Let's see if I can put this in. I'm doing a no-till garden. Obviously, it's going to be bigger. No, I'm going to need a lighter. Obviously, it's got to be bigger. I've grown a vitex from seed, a whirling butterfly bush, and I'll post the third one. I can't remember what it is. But after I started it, and obviously it's going to be much bigger than this, after I started it and I ran the sprinkler, no water was getting back here. I'm not sure how the grass was green. I mean, there's no sprinkler system, that pops up in this area. So it must just be the slope of the grass that keeps this grass green, but it's not going to be enough for plants. So this area, I am going to fill in a little bit more. This corner is not even 90 degrees. It's maybe 45, 50 degrees. So it's a very tight corner. It's always had nothing here, and it's always looked very bare and sad to me. So I started laying down cardboard, put down soil. I was going to put down mulch, and then as I said, I realized this had no irrigation at all. So, and it needs it if I'm going to plant stuff here. So, all right, this line is complete. We can start on the other line. Okay, so now it's time for this faucet on the other side of the house. Do the same thing. Splitter, different splitter. One I bought from Amazon and one I got from Home Depot. Same thing. They're all pretty good. I'm going to replace this hose though, because I thought the connections on the other side, the adapters that I used, to have it go to the irrigation line, were the problem where this hose attaches to the system. But as it turns out, the splitter I used on the other side was the same splitter we first used on this line. Where's the hose? Oh, on this line, and it's leaking behind these, behind the bushes. Anyway, so I think now that I can see the other one is working. Why is this not holding on now? Well, let me get another one. Well, hopefully this one works. The other one worked and held. I'm not sure why that one was not working. Let's see if that works. It's not. What's the deal? Huh. Yeah, it's not holding at all. Okay, folks, I'm going to turn this one off for now. Turn on the one that we currently have hooked up I'm going to have to go back and see why are these adapters, these two, not working when the other one did. All right, so I'm going to have to pick up this video after a trip to the store. Folks, I'm going to try to adapt this one, to be honest. So I'm going to remove the filter on this side. Put this through. And I'm just going to use a lighter and see if I can open this up a little bit so that it won't pull straight through. All right, let's see what we can do here. Just going to heat it up. Whoop, right the other way. Melt it a little. Soften it up. I'm going to use these scissors to see if I can open up the tube a little. And then see if that will hold going the other way. And it does. Look at that. Ah, it worked. Yay. Okay. No trip to the store. We're just going to continue. Put the filter back. All right. We'll continue with our work. Okay. So now that we figured that out, let's put this on the other side. Snug. And open that up. Now, obviously, I will test to make sure there are no leaks from the adaptation I did here. All right, so now time to run this along the fence to the planter pots that I want to get water. I moved these polka dot plants from the front planter in the front yard back here to these pots about a week and a half ago. That one is so unhappy. And honestly, I don't think that he's decided whether he's going to make it or not. The one that we planted over here, however, is growing and really seems to enjoy the spot there. The only thing I can think of is a little more sun for the moment on this pot. I have been watering it, but frankly, as I said, in this heat, it needs to get super watered every day until it gets established. So the irrigation line is running along the fence. This is going to be the first area I water. I'm going to run it behind these bushes and then turn along the fence here. And this is going to be the second pot that's going to get irrigation. So let's continue with that. Now we're at the second pot, and we're going to continue to run the lines all the way down to, and you can barely see it back here, but the two terracotta pots back here. So the line's going to continue to run down here to the two terracotta pots, and these are the last two stops for watering. These two pots at the end of the line, they both have holes underneath, and I'm going to run a line up inside with the drip irrigation from the top on the inside of both of those. I think those plants will be much happier that way. By the way, these guys, I'm going to put a picture in the corner, are blooming absolutely stunning every day. It's just when it starts to get shady over here that they do close up a bit, and we're definitely heading towards evening. And again, I'm not sure if this little polka dot plant's going to make it, but whatever I do, yeah, he's probably not going to make it. Whatever I do end up putting in here, though, is going to need drip irrigation. So, might as well put it in. Obviously, do not need a long tube for this one since the line is right here. So I'm going to pre-cut that. Okay, we have that set. And put a cut in the line. And again, we're going to be using the T to connect the water line on both sides, and then the output for the plant on the top. All right, let's get this going. Oh, nope. Yep. Huh? The first time I did irrigation in both of these pots, they were completely empty. There was no soil, there were no plants, there was nothing. So I was able to feed the lines on, put the dripper ends on, and it wasn't a problem. This time, feeding it up through the center, clearly there is soil in the tube. So I'm going to run the irrigation system for just a minute to clear out that soil. So as you can see now, the water is flowing and both of these lines are clear. I'll turn off the irrigation system. I'm going to attach a dripper to the ends of each of these and then push them back in the pots, and the irrigation on this side will be done. All right, so we're done with all the new irrigation. Woohoo! I pulled the drippers on this back inside the pot, so they're literally in the center of both pots, and they'll water right directly to these plants' roots. So these guys should be very happy. All right, so the sprinkler in this corner is working. I'm going to try to get closer without getting my iPad wet to see if we have any leaks in that splitter that we put in. And it looks like there are no leaks in the splitter. Good news. So this drip irrigation is working in this pot. And this drip irrigation is working in this pot. And the drip is working in that front corner. Yay!